You know what we should do? We should ask Houston head football coach Tony Levine, who joins BYU Sports Nation right now. Coach, what do you do? Forget the players. What do you do the final week before fall camp begins and your life then becomes all football all the time?
Well, I think, a couple of things. I think you got to define the phrase final week. Our final week before we get working as coaches is the week of the 4th of July. So I'm a big family guy. My wife and I got 4 little kids. Our oldest is 9, so spending quite a bit of time with them. And I say every once in a while, the next day off we have is Thursday, February the 5th, 2015, wow. The day after signing day. So we're going 1,000 miles an hour. And again, our student athletes a little bit different. We give them 4 or 5 days off right before we officially report next Friday. And again, it comes up on you quick.
That's honey, I'll see you in 7 months.
Hey, I wouldn't be doing anything for the previous 3 months.
Houston head football coach Tony Levine joining BYU Sports Nation. Coach, you get a brand new stadium. Congratulations on that. What kind of buzz has that created for your team and in the immediate Houston area?
Well, it's been really exciting. I appreciate you bringing it up. And last year, I think you guys certainly know we played off campus, played in Reliance Stadium where the Houston Texans play. So it was a year away from campus. It's exciting to get back on. We're looking forward to being in a brand new football stadium, and it's something that if I take us back a couple years, since we've known about it for a few years, it's really helped the last couple recruiting classes, and there is a buzz right now. Everyone wants to get back on campus, and I know the guys have been working there literally 24 hours a day, getting it done. We'll be in it in about a month, and it's something our student athletes, our students, and certainly our alumni are very, very excited about.
Coach, you also got some new uniforms to go along with the new stadium. And you mentioned recruiting. I'm a big fan when I was getting recruited by colleges of, what type of uniforms did you wear? Nike, Adidas. How do you think these new uniforms would help with recruiting?
I personally like them. I think they're sharp. They're not. I know some programs put out some designs that maybe are a little bit too over the top for me and the personality, I think, of our program. So they're red, they're white, they say Houston on them, they got a swoosh because we're sponsored by Nike, and our players really like the comfort of them as well. So we did the Nike Flywire, if you know what that is, around the neck, and again, it's something we talk about family all the time in our program, so we involve our student athletes in a lot of the decisions that we make, and we got a couple of coaches on our staff that think they know how to dress well, so we talk to them. We talk to our captains and some seniors and get some input, and have a great relationship with Nike. And at the end of the day, I think our uniforms this year are going to be really sharp.
So coaches that think they know how to dress well, not just coaches that dress well, but think.
You caught that, correct?
If you look good, you feel good, you play good, or coach good.
That's right. Tony Levine, head football coach of Houston, with us on BYU Sports Nation. Now entering your 3rd season. Very validating moment for you. You signed a 5-year extension in May, which is a credit to what you've done for that program after you lose the likes of Case Keenum. Now you have a true freshman last year in John O'Corn. We've been referring to him as John Children of O'Corn. He was dynamite as a true freshman. What do you think he's capable of in his sophomore season?
Well, a couple things, and I'm going to mention this, and it's known here a little bit. The more people learn about John, and maybe some of your listeners don't know this, but he as a junior in high school, he was a backup quarterback. So they had a young man in front of him that was a Division I recruit. So last year for us as a true freshman, if this makes sense, was his 2nd year as a starting quarterback at any level. So one year at high school and last year for us. So he turned 19 around Thanksgiving. A couple months ago he started shaving. And what's exciting is, he played 13 games for us last year, and with 3 years left, he's got somewhere around 40 games left as the University of Houston Cougars. So he's done a great job in the weight room. When we played in our bowl game the first week of January, he weighed 196 pounds. And he's 6'4", and last week he weighed 220. So he's gained almost 25 pounds of muscle, and again, it's going to be fun to watch him grow on the field, off the field, and continue. I think we're going to see him take that next step in his progression, not only when you look at it from freshman to sophomore, but from really year 2 as a starting quarterback at any level to now his third year as a starter.
That's amazing. There's a lot of potential there. I was very impressed with him coming into the game last year against BYU. I think at that time he threw maybe one or no interceptions up until that point. So very mature. Did not know that actually. Something that I am excited for is this game, just because I'm a DB. And this year, there's a lot of hype with the BYU secondary right now. Arguably one of the best secondaries to come through BYU. And so, with you guys having that passing attack, that just makes me get excited because I get to see what I want to see all game. How do you guys, from an offensive standpoint, how do you guys attack a athletic secondary like BYU's without being complacent?
Right. Well, and again, it's a good question. I think certainly that's it's no secret what we try to do. We talk about the word balance, but we also we try to throw the football around the field, and I think we've got some talented receivers, and it's always challenging when you look and you see you're going against a veteran, talented secondary. Whether it's BYU or somebody else, as opposed to maybe an inexperienced one, or maybe one that doesn't have quite the size that another program does in BYU, it presents its challenges. And again, we can't be one-dimensional. We've got some talented running backs, and we've got to get them the ball and try to get the run game going as well. Similar to what you guys do offensively, we try to have good tempo and get our plays in and out. We're not going to huddle, so it's a challenge. And again, I do think this season we've got a number of young men back for us at our offensive skill positions, if you will. And I think again, on our end, we're not looking. I don't want to say that far ahead. It's only, I think, game number 3, but it's going to be, I think, great matchups across the board.
Head coach Tony Levine of Houston Cougars football joining BYU Sports Nation, now approaching his 3rd season as the head man in charge there. You have talented receivers like Deontay Greenberry and Daniel Spencer. These guys are going to test any secondary, especially those in the conference that you play in, which I believe is one of the more underrated conferences in college football, especially at the top with the likes of Central Florida and your team, Houston and Cincinnati. Where do you like your chances in winning an AAC title this year, Coach?
Well, that's every year competing for a conference championship. That's our goal. And what we don't do within our program, that's clear within our program. But we don't sit there every week and say, okay, we've got to do this, we got to do that. We really, I know it's a cliche, but we're taking it one game at a time. So I like the direction our program is headed. I think our staff's done a great job recruiting the last couple of years, and we've added some very, very quality depth to our program. And so again, we're literally going to take it one game at a time. And I think I agree with you. Certainly is in the statement you made in terms of this conference being a little bit underrated. I think nationally, when you look at Central Florida coming in with us last year, and also SMU. And first year in, transitioning from Conference USA, Central Florida wins the league, and not only wins the league but wins the BCS bowl game. So, we were in the red zone there, and a chance to score late in that game. And so I think there's great competition, and I don't think it's just necessarily, if you will, at the top in terms of a Cincinnati or a Central Florida. I think South Florida. Temple, UConn, Tulane went to a bowl last year. Tulsa's got great tradition. SMU's got great tradition. So I think it's even Memphis. So I think it's a very, very exciting league. We had East Carolina this year, who I believe won 10 games last year. Has got one of the better quarterbacks in the country. So it's a great league, top to bottom. I think it's very, very competitive nationally.
We've been discussing the best non-Power 5 teams in the country, and up here anyway, we feel like Central Florida and Houston are certainly in that conversation. And then you look at the college football playoff that is being implemented into the game this year for the first time ever. What do you think the chances are of a team that is a non-Power 5 team sneaking into that top 4? Because I've heard all sorts of opinions. Do you feel like a team outside of a power conference, if they have a special enough season, they can sneak into that top 4?
Well, I think I think it depends, and ultimately, if you're asking me for a yes or no answer, I think the answer is yes, in my opinion. But I think it depends a number of things. And again, specifically for us, we're going to try to win every game, but we're going to take it 1 week at a time, and at the end of the year, see how it all plays out. You know, I was the assistant head coach here a few years ago, and toward the end of the season, we were undefeated and ranked 6th in the BCS rankings going into our conference championship game, which we then lost at the time. So, you know, I think it certainly can be done. Again, and I think they're talking about strength of schedule and some other different factors that will play in. So going into the first year of the playoff system, I think it's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of unknowns right now nationally, and I think when you look at these the schools that you're referring to, they got to take care of business 1 week at a time and see how it all plays out at the end of the year.
Coach, the last time I interviewed you in the fall of 2013, you gave me a fantastic, choice for food in the Houston area. You told me to go to Frenchie's, and I did that, and it did not disappoint. So I can only return the favor for when you take your trip to Provo in early September. So I guess.
What do you recommend?
Well, what do you want? Do you want barbecue? Do you want a hot dog? What do you think?
Well, a couple things. One, I'm glad you reminded me that I actually, and this is the honest-to-goodness truth, I'm honest to a fault, I'm having Frenchies today for lunch, so in an hour and a half, I'll be thinking of you in an hour and a half as I'm eating Frenchies. But you know, two things. We get a lot of barbecue down here, and my wife actually is a dietitian, so hot dog would be great because I don't get that very often.
Okay.
Just give me a recommendation, please.
We have a tradition here on BYU Sports Nation. Every Friday, we go to a place called J-Dogs, and it's like a cult favorite here in the Provo, Utah. You have to eat a J-Dog, Coach. It will change your life.
You're paying, right?
Yeah, I'll buy it today for us here.
I'm talking, I mean when Coach comes.
I'll pay. Yeah, Coach, you want to hit up the J-Dogs? I'd be happy to pay for your J-Dogs.
Yes, pay for me too, right? Yes, thank you, Spencer.
That's perfect. I mean, is it J-A-Y or the letter?
It's just the letter J and then D-A-W-G.
Okay, perfect.
Give it a go. Okay, there. Favor return. Coach, great to have you on the show. We appreciate the insight to your team, and I wish you the best of luck in the 2014 season.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.